Today we're going to go over the payment section and how to understand payments and account level reserve, and also how to navigate that part of Amazon Seller Central. So to start off, the way to access your payments and your account level reserve, to come over under reports and under payments right here. So you'll open this up into another tab. That tab will actually bring you to a page that looks just like this, but for you. And within this, you're going to have a statement view, a transaction view, all statements, disbursements, advertising invoice history, lending reports, and repository. So some of these are new features that are fairly new as far as beta, as far as right now, and this is being done in October. As you'll see here, the way that this works is Amazon typically pays its sellers roughly every 2 weeks, with each payment covering 14 days of orders after deducting Amazon's fees. And the fees are for whatever current period you're in. So an important thing to remember is that Amazon always gets paid first. And so depending on what type of fees you have here, whether it's refund, promotional, cost of advertising, other Amazon fees, those are all going to be deducted out before you have your net proceeds. And so you're going to have essentially a bucket or a payout bucket, and from that bucket it will be paid out over a certain period, and then from there that will be deducted out the current fees for that term. And so some of the things that can be a little bit confusing is kind of how to navigate this. So let's go ahead so once you come over to transaction view, here you're going to see every single purchase that was actually made, the order ID of the product, how much was charged, how much was under, if there was any promotional rebate such as a coupon, what were the Amazon fees, and anything else that might be attached in the total payout. And so you can actually see how that actually works per order under transaction view, and you can actually change this to different transaction types. Under all statements, under here you're actually going to see all the different payout periods or payout statements, and how much was attributed to refunds, expenses, how much total sales, and how much the total payout amount was. You can download those over flat file. Now you'll see those as a past history where you can click summary, where you can download that flat file. Last of all, or the next phase essentially, is disbursements. This one and then one other page are actually useful, but over here you essentially just will see the current status of those disbursements and where they are in the process. Sometimes you have a scheduled payout for a certain day, once it starts processing, once it actually arrives, and then the acknowledgement by Amazon's bank provider. Depending on the ACH, this can take up to 5 days. After you've been with Amazon for a long time, and of course your bank is used to Amazon's deposits, this can actually speed up your process, and that communication can actually happen faster. In reference to this account has actually been around for over 6 years, and so they are one of the higher tiers for that. And so I'll get into some of that a little bit later on this. And the last part is actually this advertising. So if you click under advertising invoice history, this is one of the things that you can either have your advertising invoice paid out into a credit card or paid out to the account. And in this reference, this person or this account is actually done, the payments are to the seller account rather than to a credit card. And so each amount is billed. Most often you'll actually see, here, let me move my bubble. You'll actually see here the invoice date, October 10th, October 8th, October 6th. And so right here it is showing like an every other day sequence, but realistically it's usually based on a $500, increment. Not all of them are done this way, but this account is, where basically there's an increment that it is charged to the account. And so you will see oftentimes as a newer seller, if you have it billed to the account, you're going to see something very similar to this. Or for accounts that are doing lower ad spend, then higher spend accounts, you're going to see the amount billed in roughly $500 increments. So whenever that advertising passes $500, it'll bill the account or bill the credit card on file, etc. And so then you can access the different invoices, and when those are due, obviously when they are paid, they're essentially due. They're due on that exact same day. So it's issued and due on that exact same day. Then you'll see the current billing period, which is October 10th through present, it being the 11th as of right now. It's already accumulated $332 worth of charges and will likely get charged once it passes $500 within that time. All right, so coming back to a few questions that we always get in regards to new sellers coming to Amazon is that this page is somewhat confusing. Now you have all sorts of different charges in here. For this account, we do have cost of advertising that does come in here. But if you are doing yours via credit card, it will actually not be showing up here. That would actually come out as a separate expense just out of cost of advertising, and you take care of that separate, which means that this fee of cost of advertising will not be deducted from your overall payout so that you can then pay your credit card. Now, let me go over some standard seller kind of payment terms. The standard way that Amazon does their payouts, it's in a rotating cycle of 14 days. So normally there's a 14-day wait, and sometimes that period can be extended, and that can affect potential cash flow. Amazon typically pays its sellers every 2 weeks, with each payment covering 14 days of orders after deducting Amazon's fees that were delivered at least 7 days ago. The exact payment dates depend on when you signed up as a seller, and Amazon's payment schedule doesn't follow a fixed 1st of the month pattern, 15th of the month pattern, like some other marketplaces. Now there's some exceptions to that, and I'll get to that in a minute. The reason for this delay in payments is to allow customers to assess their orders for any issues within that 7-day period after the estimated delivery date. If a customer expresses dissatisfaction or requests a return during this time, the necessary refunds are made from the funds held by Amazon in your account level reserve right here. So next, understanding payments or Amazon's payment cycle. While Amazon's standard payment cycle is set to 14 days, it's common to wait longer for your payment for various reasons. If orders are delivered within 7 days of your payout date, the balance will roll over into the next payment period. The actual money transfer to your bank account can take 3 to 5 days, contributing to the 14-day cycle, right? So what that looks like is that you're expecting it to be on the 14th, but there's actually a delay of potentially 3 to 5 days for it to actually be deposited and then discussed back with Amazon. Amazon may also hold back all or part of your payment for more than 14 days as an account level reserve. So this often happens when we are ranking a product up or when we brand newly launch a product. Amazon will often keep in that account level reserve what they believe your return or your order defect rate may be. And so if Amazon is unfamiliar with what your rate may be, they may actually withhold on to a larger amount of funds just in case there is high level of returns associated with your products. Once you have an established account, Amazon usually has an average that they can pull from, and so they're much more forgiving that way. But obviously you have to understand you're a brand new seller, they have no previous history with you, they want to make sure the customer experience is good and that Amazon itself is not losing money. Amazon is always paid first. That's the way that it goes, and that's the way that it will always be. How Amazon payment transfer works when you get your funds. So in reality, you might wait roughly 17 to 20 business days after a sale to receive your payouts. Amazon uses the ACH transfers for payments, and the transfer duration varies depending on your bank and your account type, and transfers can take 3 to 5 business days to complete and depend on factors such as product sales, fees, refunds, chargebacks, and A to Z claims. So if you're unfamiliar with what those things are, you will become familiar with them as your time progresses in the Amazon journey. This traditional transfer time combined with the 14 days can, of course, equal roughly a 20-day payout. There is an option once you're eligible with Amazon. Some sellers have access to what's called a request transfer button in their Amazon dashboard, or daily payout, essentially. To initiate payment transfers before the regular payout date is how that button is used. However, this doesn't guarantee early payment. When you use this request transfer button, you initiate a transfer of the current available payout, which includes orders delivered 7 to 10 days ago. This action effectively pushes out the full payment date while providing you with a portion of it early. Keep in mind that hitting the request transfer button resets your payment date for another 14 days. So we had some clients who did this last year. They saw they had the button, they were so excited about it, they pushed it, and then it paid them up to the amount available within here. So with this account, you'll see there's account level reserve, and then there's funds available. There actually was some here. They could have clicked right now and actually had that sent out and delivered within 2 to 3 days and had it delivered. But then what it does is it then extends from that day of payout. That becomes your new 14-day window. And so then if you're used to your billing cycles being a certain way, you have to consistently manipulate this or use this until it's staggered in such a way that it's back in sequence with your normal payouts. That's only if you're used to this you're used to a consistent payout, and then all of a sudden you don't have it anymore. That can become very chaotic. There is a fix. It just takes time to do so. Amazon daily payouts versus next day payouts. So you may have heard about daily or next day payouts for Amazon sellers. Daily payouts can be achieved by using the request transfer button, like what we talked about, but there's still that 14 plus day delay in accessing those funds. Next day payouts can be obtained through grandfathered accounts or with a financing solution such as Payability, which gives like instant access to payments early. Now there are different fees associated with that, and if you decide to go that route, that is something that you can do. Understanding the Amazon account level reserve. So this account level reserve is a portion of your funds right here. So account level reserve is a portion of your funds set aside to cover claims or chargebacks. Very simple. Amazon institutes this reserve when it holds back all or part of your payment for more than 14 days. This practice is aimed to combating fraud, as sometimes scam sellers use to exploit Amazon by collecting funds and disappearing before processing orders at all. So Amazon does this for multiple reasons, mainly for the customer and to make sure that they aren't paying anything out of their own pocket. So what can sometimes happen is that you'll have a 14-day window when you first start, and you start seeing nothing really comes over into proceeds until this account level reserve is up to par with what Amazon believes is a safe amount. And so we've actually, I've seen this during a product launch where the account was brand new. We had a strong product launch, and this account level reserve built up to almost $20,000 before Amazon moved a portion of those funds over to the net proceeds. They still kept a section of it, and then the rest of the account level reserve kind of went into a 14-day period. I believe it was like 30 to 60 days before Amazon started releasing some of this account level reserve over to the net proceeds. So a few reasons why you might get an account level reserve. So number one, A to Z guarantee claims. When buyers request returns and refunds, unresolved claims can lead to an account level reserve. Amazon starts building that up as they believe that this will be a consistent thing for them or for you, and so they want to make sure that there's funds on hold to take care of that portion. So chargebacks, if you experience chargebacks within the last 3 months, Amazon may reserve your funds until the chargebacks process is complete. Account reviews. Amazon might hold funds in reserve while conducting account reviews, which aim to verify transactions and ensuring listing accuracy, and multiple more. That is actually part of Amazon's community guidelines or terms of service, where if you are violating anything, they can technically put your funds on hold and withhold those funds until everything has been scrutinized and gone under moderation. Low performance. Sellers with low ratings face a higher risk of reserves, as they act as insurance for potential refunds for chargebacks. So that same thing, the chargebacks and the A to Z guarantee claims, if you have consistent ratios, Amazon tries to say, okay, there's a failure rate or a chargeback rate of 10%. They will often make sure to keep at least that 10% or some sort of percentage associated with that attached to your reserve, especially if you have really bad ratings associated with your account. We have a client who currently consistently has like a 3-star, and they still sell well, but they have a 3-star, 3.5-star rating. And their account level reserve is very, very, very high because it's been that way for several years. Tax requirements. Amazon may withhold funds to cover sales-related tax, requiring you to resolve tax issues before accessing your funds. So this is one thing that, as a new seller, is very important. This is the Amazon reserve tiers. So this part is not something that is commonly discussed, but it is well known if you are on Amazon longer than others. So newly launched sellers don't know how this works. So your reserve amount is based on factors like the age of your account and any pending disputes. Amazon Pay calculates the reserve rate according to those tiers. Okay, so usually tier 1 is going to be new sellers. They start there with basically 100% reserve rate for at least a week, and sometimes a little bit longer depending on the rate of that success. Funds are dispersed if everything checks out. So you have all your your ACH connected, you have your bank account, you have your business verified, you have your address verified, and everything looks good. Tier 2. So after about a year, a lot of times new sellers will enter into Tier 2. So after a year and at least 100 orders, sellers move usually to Tier 2 with a 3% reserve base and a 28-day average. This rate is also affected by pending disputes, as mentioned earlier. And then Tier 2 plus. So sellers in Tier 2 with an order defect rate below 1% for over 60 days are upgraded to the Tier 2 plus, where only unresolved chargebacks and A to Z claims are reserved. So this account has been around for a very long time. They really don't have very many chargebacks, if any. And you'll see like they don't have much of an account level reserve, if any, right now. And if I went through their previous history, sometimes they have a little bit here and there, but it is about 1%. 1% of sales or less. How to avoid an account level reserve. To avoid an account level reserve, regularly review your account's performance, customer feedback, and fulfillment processes. However, it's important to note that even with really incredible metrics, you might still encounter reserves, particularly in industries with high return rates. So another example of this is if you are in a niche like electronics. Electronics consistently have a high fail rate or a high return rate. Even if you're in like their version of the Tier 2 plus, you may still have account level reserve, even if you have less than 1% of returns or order defects, just because there's such a high volume on electronics that sometimes you can have certain restrictions that are placed on the category, not as you as a seller. Here's what I'll say about FBM. If you have an FBM account or FBM products, your payouts are determined by arrival date, as it is with FBA, but there's less control over that with Amazon. They have different rules as it relates to FBM, and sometimes those result in longer payout periods. Just a heads up on how that works. So if you're having an extra long payout window because of FBM options, that is likely why.
Hey, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Amazing Marketing Company. I hired these guys probably about 7-8 months ago when our Amazon listings were doing okay. I knew that I needed someone with expertise, and I interviewed quite a few companies until I landed on the Amazing Marketing Company. Not only do they know what they're doing, but they can do it on time and on budget. They really took my concerns into consideration, and they weren't just like spending money to spend money. I've met other Amazon companies like that just will push your ad spend to enormous heights, and you may or may not get the ROI that you're looking for. Not only did they take my thoughts and considerations into consideration, is that Ryan and Riley really felt like partners. Like they partnered with me. They understood what my goals were, and they took my listings to a whole nother level. So if you want to see the work that they did for me, go to Amazon, look at my brand store, Hybrid Remedies. That's totally them. They looked at my listings and they improved it tenfold. And they really went above and beyond what I was asking them or what I even expected from them. So initially I hired them to run my ad campaigns, which they did very effectively. But they also took it so much further. And the other thing I'll share with you about these guys is they're just awesome to work with. So sometimes you got super knowledgeable people that just aren't easy to work with, and you deal with them because you need them. But Ryan and Riley, they're good guys, and they're fun to work with. They're easy to work with, and they work really, really hard. So if you're looking for a company that can take your Amazon listings to that next level, this is a good team to work with. Not only is it Ryan and Riley, but they have a whole host of people behind the scenes that are also experts working on your particular brand. So looking forward to doing more great stuff with these guys, but just had to do a quick little 2-minute tutorial, 2-minute testimonial about how much I enjoyed them. So Riley, Ryan, you guys are awesome. Thanks for taking my brand on. Thanks for taking it to the next level. See ya.